It was a quiet night on Planet 17K, a mining world far from Earth. The stars above were cold and silent. The machines below were still working, cutting deep into the rock. John Taylor, a repair engineer, sat alone in the control room. He was checking screens, drinking cold coffee, and waiting for his shift to end. He had done this job for 6 years. Nothing ever changed. Until now. A strange sound came from the old radio panel. It was soft at first, just noise, static, but then, a voice. "Help, please, underground." John sat up straight. He turned the volume up. The voice was weak, almost like a whisper. A woman's voice, scared, tired. "Help me. Trapped, alone." He checked the radio frequency. It was not a human signal. It was coming from a very old mining sector 9. That part had been closed for years after a tunnel collapse. John ran to the command center. His boss, Captain Harris, was looking at a map. "Sir, I heard something." "A distress call." "From Sector 9. Captain Harris frowned. "Sector 9? That's shut down. No one's there." "I think someone is down there. Maybe injured." "No. It's probably just old equipment echoing back. Don't waste your time." But John couldn't forget the voice. It sounded real. It sounded alive. That night, after his shift ended, John took a small scanner and flashlight. He told no one. He walked alone to Sector 9. The elevator didn't work, so he climbed down a service ladder. The air was cold. Dust filled his lungs. The deeper he went, the more strange it felt. Finally, he reached the bottom. It was quiet. Too quiet. The scanner beeped. There was energy nearby. Something was active. John moved forward, deeper into the tunnel. The walls were no longer stone. They were metal. Smooth, silver metal, with strange markings. They glowed faint blue. "What is this place?" he whispered. Then he saw a door. Round, alien, with glowing symbols on it. It looked ancient, but it was still working. He reached out, touched the center of the door. It made a soft humming sound. The door opened slowly, with a hiss of cold air. And then a girl fell out. She collapsed into John's arms. Her skin was pale, her hair white with a blue shine. Her eyes were large, glowing faintly. She looked scared, weak, hurt. John's heart raced. She wasn't human. But she wasn't a monster either. Her hands shook. She looked at him and whispered, in a voice that echoed in his mind, not his ears, "Please, help me. It's inside me." John looked down. Her hands were on her stomach. She was pregnant. What happened to you?" he asked, trying to stay calm. The girl held his arm tightly. Her breathing was heavy, her body cold like ice, dark. "Creature took me, used me." John didn't understand everything, but he could feel her fear. "Don't worry, I'll get you out, I promise." He pulled off his jacket, wrapped it around her, and lifted her gently. Suddenly, the scanner beeped again. Something was moving behind the walls, fast, heavy. The girl's eyes widened. "It's coming." "What is coming?" John asked. "The thing that put this inside me. It can hear me. It's hunting me." John looked back at the dark tunnel. Something was out there. Something big. He didn't wait. He started walking back quickly, holding her close. Her skin felt colder now, her body weaker. As he moved, the lights above flickered. The ground shook, slightly. The signal had woken more than just the girl. They were not alone. John reached the ladder and began to climb with her on his back. Every second felt longer. Every sound behind him felt like footsteps. When they reached the top, he ran to his small quarters and locked the door. He laid her on the bed. Her breathing slowed. She looked at him with tired eyes. "You heard me." "No one else did," John nodded. "I'll protect you," he said. "Whatever this is, you're not alone now." But in his mind, he asked himself, what is inside her? What did she bring with her? And deep below, something moved again. Asterisk, the girl didn't sleep. She lay on John's bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling like she was listening to something no one else could hear. John sat on the floor beside her, too afraid to ask more questions. His heart was still racing from what he saw underground. Who was she? What was she? And most of all, what was growing inside her? The silence in the room was heavy. Only the sound of her breathing filled the space. Finally, she spoke, not with her mouth, but in his mind. "My name is Lyra." John looked up, startled. Her lips hadn't moved. "Are you speaking in my head?" "Yes, it is easier." Her voice in his mind was soft, tired, like a wind moving through empty halls. John took a slow breath. "What happened to you down there?" Lyra turned her head slowly. Her eyes glowed faintly, blue like ice. She didn't blink often. "I was part of a research team. My people came from far. We studied your planet, quietly. We did not mean harm. But then, it found us." She placed her hand gently on her stomach. John frowned. "The monster?" Lyra nodded. "It was not just a monster. It was a mistake. A weapon made by my kind, long ago, left behind, sleeping deep underground. When we came, it woke up." John felt cold again. The memory of the tunnels, the sound behind the walls, it all made sense now. Something old had been hiding under them. "And it did this to you?" he asked. She closed her eyes. "Yes, it took me. It used me. It wanted to create something new." John looked at her belly. It hadn't grown much, but something inside moved. A slight shift under the skin. It made his stomach turn. He stood up and walked to the small window. Outside, the stars blinked silently. The mining base lights flickered now and then, as if the system was glitching. He turned back to her. "You said it's growing. But why are you afraid? Is it dangerous?" Lyra's voice echoed in his mind again, sharper this time. "It's not just growing. It's learning. It feels me. It listens when I sleep. It sees what I see. It is not fully mine. Not fully yours." She sat up slowly, holding her side. Her skin was almost glowing in the dark room now. "And it's not a baby, not in the way you understand." John backed away a little. "Then what is it?" Lyra looked at him, and for the first time her voice came from her mouth. It was hoarse, quiet. "It's a bridge." He blinked. "A bridge? Between two species, between peace or war." Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. Again, the power buzzed. John grabbed his scanner from the table. It was picking up energy spikes again. Something was interfering with the base systems. Something alive. Lyra's eyes turned wide. She gripped the edge of the bed. "It's near. It can feel me." John grabbed the blanket, threw it over the window. "No one can see you, okay? You're safe here." But even as he said the words, he knew they might not be true. The base had security systems. Drones, sensors. If they detected alien presence, alerts would go out, and whatever was hunting Lyra might not care about locked doors. He looked back at her. "What do we do now?" She looked up at him with a sad smile. One tear rolled down her cheek, silver, glowing. "You already did it. You heard me when no one else did. Now you must help me. Before it wakes." John walked closer, kneeled beside her again. He hesitated, then placed a hand near hers. The room felt colder. Her voice echoed once more in his mind. "If this child survives, it will not be like me, or like you. It will be something new. And everything will change." The baby moved again. John felt it before Lyra even spoke. A sudden pressure in the room, like the air was watching. Lyra grabbed the edge of the bed and sat still. Her glowing eyes stared at the wall. "It's awake," she whispered. John froze. "The baby?" She shook her head slowly. "No, the other one. The one that made it." John's hands tightened around the small scanner in his pocket. He pulled it out. The screen blinked, lines of static danced across it, then a pulse. Reading. Movement detected. Level 3. Sector D. That was underground, exactly where Lyra came from. He tapped the screen. The reading blinked again. Faster this time. Approaching. He looked at her. It's coming for you? Lyra's voice entered his mind again, soft like wind through broken glass. It wants the child. Not to kill it, but to control it. It was made to serve one master, but the child is something new. John backed away and opened his laptop. He pulled up the base security system. There were motion cameras throughout the underground tunnels. He switched to live feed. At first, nothing. Just dark tunnels, quiet and empty. Then, something moved. On camera 4, a shadow flickered across the wall. It moved fast. Too fast for anything human. Then another shadow, this one bigger. Crawling, legs bending the wrong way. John leaned closer. That's not possible. The creature moved like smoke. It didn't walk, it flowed. It crawled across ceilings, clung to pipes, avoided lights. Then it stopped. Its head, long and thin, turned toward the camera. The screen went black. John shut the laptop and looked at Lyra. We have to hide you. She was already standing, weak but determined. It can smell me. He helped her stand. Her skin was colder than before. We can go through the vents. No cameras there, no ID scans. John opened the wall panel behind his small fridge. It was a tight space, just big enough for one person to crawl through. Lyra nodded. You first. I will follow. As they entered the narrow metal passage, the lights above flickered again. A low, strange sound echoed through the base like metal grinding against metal. Somewhere, something was breaking in. They crawled in silence for minutes. John's hands were shaking. His ears listened for every sound, each creak, each thump of footsteps far below. They reached an old storage room. He opened the grate and helped Lyra out. She collapsed on a pile of empty boxes, breathing hard. John locked the vent behind them. We'll stay here, just for a while. Lyra nodded. Then she whispered something that made his blood go cold. It doesn't kill to eat. It kills to learn. Every mind it touches, it keeps part of it. John blinked. What do you mean? It touched my team. Now it knows us. How we think, how we speak. That's how it found the signal. That's how it found me. He looked at the door. He had locked it, but suddenly that didn't feel enough. Then his earpiece crackled to life. A voice. Control to all units. Emergency breach detected. Life form presence unknown. All staff to stations. John pulled the earpiece out. 2. He turned back to Lyra. We have to get you off this base. You can't. No one leaves without clearance. And if they find me, they won't ask questions. John stood. I know someone. A pilot. He owes me. If I call in the favor now, Lyra looked up. You would risk your life for me? John paused, then said quietly, you said this child is a bridge. Maybe we need that bridge more than we think. Suddenly banged. The door shook. John pulled out a tool gun, the only weapon he had. Another bang. Then silence. He stepped back. And then a sound. Like breathing. Not human. Not close, but very, very aware. The child was dreaming. But it wasn't her dream. Lyra lay still in the dark, her eyes closed, her breathing slow, but her mind wide awake. She wasn't in the storage room anymore. Not in her body. She was inside the womb with the thing growing inside her, and it was dreaming of fire. John sat nearby, watching her. She hadn't moved in 10 minutes. Her skin looked pale, almost glass-like. Faint blue light glowed from under her ribs. He could see it, flickering like a heartbeat. He checked her vitals with his scanner. Everything was off. Temperature low. Pulse strange, but she was alive. Barely. Then her eyes opened. And they weren't just hers anymore. They were sharing something. John leaned forward. "Lyra, can you hear me?" She blinked, once, then twice. Slowly, the blue light faded from her chest. "I saw it," she whispered. "I felt what it feels." John frowned. "The child?" She nodded. "It's not just a body. It's aware, too aware. It's building itself, choosing pieces from me, and from the monster." John felt a chill run through him. "It doesn't want to be like either of us," she continued. "It wants to be new." John paced. "The room, what does that even mean? Is it dangerous?" Lyra held her stomach gently, as if afraid to touch it too hard. "It doesn't feel hate. Not yet, but it knows fear. And hunger. It was born in darkness. It remembers teeth. It remembers being chased before it was even alive." John didn't know what to say. He stared at her. Then at the tiny glow under her skin, pulsing with life. He took a breath. "You," said the creature. "Its father or maker used you." "Why?" Lyra's face tightened. Her voice grew cold. "My species once created creatures for war. Biomachines, half flesh, half code, but we shut them down. We buried them deep. This one survived, alone, sleeping under rock and time. When I entered the lower levels, it found me." John stepped back, trying to understand. "So the child is part weapon?" "No," she said. "The child is part choice." The creature wanted a body that could survive, a mind that could adapt, and I was the test. John shook his head. "Why you?" She looked up slowly. "Because I was the only one not afraid." Suddenly, the walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A loud metallic clang echoed through the vent above. John grabbed his tool gun. He rushed to the door and checked the hallway through the small lens. Nothing. Then the hallway camera blinked. The screen glitched. And for 1 second, he saw it. A tall figure, crawling sideways across the ceiling. Its limbs twisted like cables. Its skin was black like space, and in the middle of its chest, a glowing blue eye, just like the one beneath Lyra's skin. The screen went dark. He turned back to her. "It's close." Lyra nodded. She stood with effort, hand still on her stomach. "It's not hunting the way you think. It's searching for connection." John frowned. "What kind of connection?" "It thinks this child is its, but the child does not agree." She walked to him, her voice shaking now. "I don't know what's going to come out of me, but I know this. It will choose who it becomes. And right now, it's watching you." John looked down at her stomach. The glow pulsed once, then stopped. Like a blinking eye, he whispered, "Can it hear us?" Lyra looked straight into his eyes. "It already has." The oxygen level dropped by 1%. John didn't notice it right away. But Lyra did. She touched the wall of the storage room with her fingers. Her eyes narrowed. "It's breathing us in." John looked up from the scanner. "What?" "The air is changing. It's not just looking for me now. It's testing the base, like it's deciding which parts to keep." John stepped back, suddenly aware of how quiet the room had become. The hum of the machines outside had stopped. Even the overhead lights were dimmer. It was like the base itself was holding its breath. He knew they were out of time. John pulled out a communicator from under the floor panel. It was old, not connected to the main system, off-grid and untraceable. He flipped it open and spoke. "Rex, it's John. You still owe me." A voice crackled after a pause. Rough, dry, tired. "John? I thought you were dead. Close enough. Listen, I need a pickup. Quiet, no questions. From Bay 4. You're in that mining graveyard? What the hell did you find?" John looked at Lyra, who sat quietly in the corner, hands over her stomach. The light from her skin was pulsing faster now. "I'll explain later. Just be ready. In 6 hours. And bring med support. This isn't human." The line went dead. John hid the device again and turned back to her. We're getting you out. Tonight. The plan was simple. Too simple. They would leave through the maintenance tunnels, avoid the cameras, reach Bay 4, and launch before anyone saw them. But nothing ever stayed simple on this base. 4 hours later, the hallway lights blinked red. Lockdown alarm echoed through the mining facility. Warning. Biological threat detected. Level 2 breach. John cursed under his breath. It's moving. Lyra grabbed his wrist. Her voice in his mind was fast, urgent. It's not just hunting now. It's challenging the base. It wants to see how humans react to fear. John pulled her toward the back panel. They opened the emergency shaft and dropped down into the narrow waste tunnel. Cold, wet, full of old pipes and forgotten wires. It was dark. Too dark. John turned on his flashlight. The beam shook in his hand. Every noise echoed like a scream in water. Drip. Drip. Loud creak. Then dash movement. Something slid across the pipe behind them. John turned. Nothing. Lyra held his arm tighter. Her voice was a whisper now. It's not coming yet. It's watching the child. Not me. It's confused. It doesn't know what it made. They moved faster, crawling through old ducts and broken passages. Lyra stumbled once, gasping, holding her stomach. The glow inside her was stronger now, like lightning behind thin skin. John helped her sit. What's wrong? It's growing. Too fast. It's not waiting for safety. She looked at him. With fear. It wants to be born before we leave. It wants to choose where it opens its eyes. John shook his head. Not here. Not now. You need time. You need care. There is no time, she whispered. It already knows we're trying to escape. Finally, they reached Bay 4. It was quiet. Too quiet. The launch pad was empty, the gate still closed. The lights flickered, barely powered. And in the middle of the room, something lay on the floor. A body. John ran forward, turned the man over. A technician. Face pale, eyes wide open. No wounds. Just emptiness. His mind had been taken. Lyra stepped beside him. She looked at the body and then at the door. It's close. John opened the launch panel. Come on, we just need 5 minutes. He entered the code Rex gave him. The door beeped twice. Then dash boomed. The ceiling above shook. Metal creaked. Something heavy landed on the upper deck. Footsteps. Crawling. Not human. Lyra fell to her knees. It knows. It's not angry. It's curious. John turned toward the sound. The door behind them trembled. It had found them. Asterisk. The moment the door cracked, the child pushed. Lyra screamed, not from pain, but from pressure deep inside her bones. Like gravity had flipped upside down. John dropped his tool gun and caught her as she collapsed. Her skin glowed like fire under ice. Her body trembled, shaking with something far beyond human pain. It's time, she gasped. It's coming. John stared at her stomach. The blue light inside pulsed rapidly, now fast, rhythmic, intelligent. Then he heard it. A sound. Not a cry, not a voice. A heartbeat. But not just 1.2.1 was Lyra's. The other wasn't. Outside the door, the creature waited. It didn't break in. It stood still, crouched like a beast made of wire and shadow, listening to the sounds inside. It didn't want to destroy. Not yet. It wanted to witness, because what was happening inside that hangar had never happened before. John cleared space on the floor, laying Lyra on a padded tarp. His hands were shaking. He had delivered machines, repaired engines, welded pipes, but never this. I don't know how to help you, he whispered. You don't have to, Lyra said. It knows how to be born. Her eyes rolled back. Her body arched. The glow from her stomach spread up her chest, down her legs. Her entire form lit up like a nebula caught in skin. The lights in the hangar shorted out. Everything went dark except her. Then it happened. Her skin opened, not like a wound, but like petals of light. No blood. No scream. Only silence. And presence. John covered his mouth as something emerged. Not a baby, not a monster. Something between. It was small, gray-blue, with soft skin and large black eyes. Its limbs were thin but flexible. Its chest pulsed with soft white light, like a star trying to breathe. It didn't cry. It just looked at him. With confusion. With recognition. Lyra collapsed, eyes half open, weak but alive. John stared at the newborn. What are you? The creature behind the door moved. John turned. And then it opened the door slowly. No attack. No violence. The alien monster stepped into the hangar. It was twice his height, crawling like a spider made of bones and wires. Its head was long, eyeless, but somehow it saw, and when it looked at the child, it knelt. The baby blinked once. Then it reached out tiny fingers, glowing. The creature responded by bowing lower. John stood between them, unsure. Is this your creator? He asked. Lyra spoke weakly. No, it is not its parent. It is its first follower. The child floated slightly above the ground now, body weightless. The glow around it warmed the air. Machines around the hangar powered up, silently, without connection. The creature looked at John. And for the first time, it spoke. Not with sound, but with shared thought. The child is balance. We were made for war. It was made to stop it. John staggered back. You can talk? Only now. Through it. John looked at the child again, floating, glowing, watching. What do you want from us? He asked. The voice answered from inside his mind. Not one. Warn. Others are coming. Lyra reached out weakly. The child floated toward her, landing softly in her arms. She smiled for the first time. It chose peace, she whispered. It chose us. But before John could ask more, the scanner in his pocket beeped. New ship detected. Entering orbit. He checked the screen. Not Rex. Not human. And not alone. The child blinked, and the sky changed. High above the mining colony, the stars dimmed. Not because of nightfall, there was no real night here, but because something massive had entered orbit. A ship. Dark, wide, and alive. It didn't announce itself. It simply arrived. Inside Bay 4, time had slowed. Lyra held the hybrid child in her arms. Her body was weak, her voice thin. The baby looked up at her, wide-eyed and silent. No tears, no sound. Only light, soft and steady, pulsed from its chest. John stood nearby, watching the door. Watching the creature, but most of all, watching the child. It's calm, he whispered. Lyra nodded, barely able to sit. It knows what's coming. The alien creature, the one that had once hunted Lyra, stood still, its head tilted toward the sky. It could feel them too. More were coming, and they were not like it. John turned on his communicator and started recording. Not for Rex, not for Lyra, for Earth. He kept his voice clear. Slow, steady, message log, emergency. This is John Taylor, engineer at Outpost 17K. We found something here, someone. She wasn't human, but she wasn't our enemy. He glanced at Lyra, then at the child. She was taken by a creature, not to destroy her, but to make something new. That something is here now. He paused. This child, it's not human, but it's not alien either. It's something in between. And it's alive in a way I can't explain. He looked out through the hangar window. The stars were almost gone now, blacked out by the ship above. They're here. I don't know what they want, but I think they're afraid of what the child might become. He lowered his voice. If you get this, protect the child, no matter what. Lyra looked at John, her face calm now. It's choosing you. He stepped forward. What? She placed the baby in his arms. For a moment, he didn't move. He had repaired broken machines his whole life. Now he held something that could change two worlds. The child looked at him, And he felt it. Not a voice, not a thought, but a presence. Warm, deep, watching his soul. Suddenly, a beam of light shot down from the sky. The hangar shook. The alien creature hissed and stood in front of them protectively. John held the child close. "What is that?" Layra whispered. "A decision." The ceiling began to melt quietly, like frost in reverse. Figures descended. They weren't like Lyra. They weren't like the monster. They were tall, armored, faceless. War-born. Hunters. The creature stepped forward, placing itself between the strangers and the child. It didn't growl. It didn't speak. It only waited. One of the tall aliens raised a hand. A weapon formed from its arm. But before it could fire, the child blinked again, and the lights in the room changed color. Not red, not blue, a new light. Something Earth didn't have, something no language had named yet, and for a second, everything froze, even time. When it passed, the armored figures stepped back. One of them dropped their weapon. The leader turned to look at John. And in that instant, he felt the message, not in words but in meaning. We will not touch the bridge. Not yet. But Earth must choose too. They disappeared as quickly as they came. The hangar fell silent again. John looked down. The child had closed its eyes. Sleeping. Like it had done all it needed to for now. Lyra was fading. Her body, her glow, her breath, all slowing. John knelt beside her. "Thank you," she whispered, "for hearing me. No one else did." He took her hand. "You're not alone anymore." She smiled faintly, then closed her eyes. Forever. John stood up, holding the child close. Above, the alien ship began to leave, but before it did, it left behind one final signal, etched into the sky with light. HFY humanity for you. John stared at the words, unsure if it was a warning or a promise. He looked at the baby again and softly said, "You're not a weapon. You're a message."